Let me ask you something. Imagine two people, same age, same job, same salary, same city. They both earn exactly $40,000 a year. 10 years later, one of them has $80,000 saved, a growing investment portfolio, and almost no financial stress. The other one, living paycheck to paycheck, wondering where all the money went. Same income, completely different lives. Now, here's the thing. The difference wasn't a side hustle. It wasn't a lucky investment. It wasn't a rich uncle or crypto windfall. It was one habit. A habit so small, so boring, so invisible that most people walk right past it every single day without ever noticing it. And by the end of this video, you're going to see it clearly. And once you do, you can't unsee it. Here's what most people believe about building wealth. They think it's about big moves, big salaries, big opportunities. They think, once I get a raise, I'll start saving. Or once I pay off this debt, I'll start investing. Or my personal favorite, once things calm down financially, I'll get serious about money. But things never calm down. The raise comes and suddenly the expenses go up too. The debt gets paid and the new one quietly appears. This is actually such a common pattern that economists have a name for it: lifestyle inflation. As income rises, spending rises right alongside it, sometimes faster. And it's not because people are irresponsible or bad with money, it's because of how the human brain is wired. Our brains are built for the present, not the future. When you get extra money, your brain doesn't automatically think, let me protect this for 50-year-old me. It thinks, I've been working hard. I deserve something now. That's not weakness. That's just human psychology doing exactly what it was designed to do. But here's the trap. When you always spend up to your income level and sometimes beyond it, you're essentially running on a financial treadmill, moving fast, going nowhere. So what's the escape? The habit that quietly builds wealth is this: paying yourself first. I know what you're thinking. That's it? That's the big secret? Stay with me, because most people have heard this phrase, nodded along, and then done absolutely nothing differently. And that's because they've heard the words, but never really understood the mechanism behind it. So let's break it down properly. Most people follow a pattern that looks like this. Money comes in, bills get paid, stuff gets bought. Whatever's left over, if anything, gets saved. That's the traditional approach. Earn, spend, save. The problem is there's almost never anything left over. Life has a remarkable ability to consume every dollar you give it. Paying yourself first flips this entirely. It looks like this instead. Money comes in, a fixed amount goes immediately into savings or investments, before you pay a single bill, before you buy a single thing. Then you live on whatever remains. That's it. That's the whole mechanism. But here's where the psychology gets really interesting. And this is the part that actually makes it work. When money is sitting in your checking account, it feels available. Your brain categorizes it as spending money, even if you mentally label it as savings. It doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel protected. And at some point, it gets spent on something urgent, something tempting, or something you can't even remember a week later. But the moment that money moves to a separate account, especially one that's slightly inconvenient to access, something remarkable happens in your psychology. Your brain stops seeing it as available money. It mentally removes it from the budget, and you adapt. You find a way to live on what's left. This is called the out of sight, out of mind effect in behavioral economics, and it's extraordinarily powerful. Psychologists have found that people dramatically adjust their spending based on what they perceive to be their available balance, not their actual wealth, their perceived available balance. So when you move money before you can spend it, you're not just saving money. You're actually reprogramming what your brain thinks is available to spend. Let's talk about the financial side first with a simple example. Say you're 25 years old. You start automatically moving just $200 a month into an investment account. That's $6.60 a day, less than most people spend on coffee and lunch. You invest it into a simple index fund that historically returns around 8% per year on average. By the time you're 65, that $200 a month has grown to just under $700,000. Not because you made great stock picks, not because you timed the market, simply because you automated a consistent habit and let time do the heavy lifting. Now imagine you waited until you were 35 to start. Same $200, same 8% return, same habit. By 65, around $300,000, less than half. That 10-year delay, the decade spent saying, "I'll start when things calm down," cost you nearly $400,000. This is why the habit matters more than the amount. Starting small and starting now will always beat starting big and starting later. But here's the psychological compounding that most people never talk about. When you consistently pay yourself first, even in small amounts, something shifts in how you see yourself. You stop identifying as someone who can't save. You start identifying as someone who is building wealth. And identity is everything when it comes to financial behavior. Research in behavioral psychology shows that people act in ways that are consistent with their self-image. Once you see yourself as a saver, as an investor, as someone who is intentional with money, your financial decisions start to align with that identity automatically. It stops being a discipline thing. It becomes a character thing. That's a completely different kind of motivation, and it's far more durable. There's also something called the automation effect. When you set up automatic transfers, you remove the single biggest enemy of good financial decisions, the moment of choice. Every time you have to consciously decide whether to save money, you're fighting against your brain's present bias, your current mood, your current expenses, and about 100 other variables. Sometimes you win, often you don't. But when the transfer happens automatically, there's no decision to make, no willpower required. The habit runs in the background while you live your life. This is exactly how wealth is quietly built. Not in dramatic moments of financial discipline, in small, automatic, invisible actions repeated consistently over time. So here is what this actually looks like in real life. Step 1. Decide on a percentage, not a fixed number. A lot of financial advice tells you to save a specific amount, but percentages are smarter because they scale with your income automatically. A simple starting point is the 50-30-20 rule. 50% of your income goes to needs, rent, food, bills, 30% to wants, 20% to savings and investments. If 20% feels impossible right now, start with 5 or even 2. The exact number matters far less than the habit of doing it at all. Step 2. Automate it immediately. Set up an automatic transfer the day after your salary hits your account. Not a reminder, not a mental note, an actual automatic transfer to a separate account. Make it slightly inconvenient to access. A different bank, no debit card attached. Anything that adds a small layer of friction between you and the money. Step 3. Increase it every time your income increases. This is the key to avoiding lifestyle inflation. Every time you get a raise or any kind of income increase, immediately redirect at least half of that increase to your savings or investments before your lifestyle has a chance to absorb it. Your spending habits haven't adjusted yet. That's your window. Use it. Step 4. Let it sit. This sounds almost insultingly simple, but it's where most people fail. They save money and then raid the account when something unexpected happens. Life always provides a reason to spend the money. Build a separate emergency fund first, 3 to 6 months of basic expenses, so that your investment account doesn't become your emergency credit card. Here's a thought I want to leave you with. Wealth is almost never built in a single dramatic moment. There's rarely a defining day where everything changes. It doesn't usually look like a great investment or a big break. It looks like a Tuesday morning, an automatic transfer moving quietly in the background while you're eating breakfast and thinking about your day. No drama, no celebration, just the habit doing its job. And then another Tuesday, and another, for months, for years. Until one day you look at a number on a screen and you realize you built something real. Not because you were lucky or brilliant or born into the right family, but because you understood one simple truth about money that most people never quite grasp. The habit always beats the amount. Consistency always beats intensity. And the money you protect from yourself today is the money that works for you tomorrow. So the question isn't whether you can afford to start. The question is, can you afford not to?